Ninnninger was a clip show this week. There, I saved you about 13 minutes about me complaining about the show again. Admittedly, it wasn't badly framed. Yeah, should start the normal thing. Bread first. Weekly Toku vlog. Yeah. Ninnninger 26, Dry 43, and Garo Gold Storm 19. Yeah, like I said, not much to talk about with Ninnninger this week. Stock reuse of Suit, the Nekomata time traveler, except it's Mata Neko this time, for some reason. And it has no time capabilities at all. It's just a regular timepiece. And it says it's the brother of the Nekomata from earlier. Problem with this. The yokai that the army are creating are all from the cursed ceiling shuriken. They don't actually have any sibling relationship. Now, this is admittedly just shown to be a quirk that it's trying to relate to this other creature, even though they're not actually related. So, it's actually called out in the episode that, yeah, that doesn't work that way. For some reason, Izayoi has lost her grow things to gigantic size hammer, which... Was that a thing at the end of the last episode? Because I really, really do not remember. And it seems to oddly facilitate the end of this plot. Because Mata Neko disguises itself as Yoshitaka and initiates a quiz. Pop quiz, hotshot. A quiz on the team's capabilities for some reason. It's supposedly to get them at each other's throats, but yeah, you weren't really going to go far from there since, they're already competing. The ironic thing, of course, is that I called a bit about first staging, saying who is where in their capabilities, and then a complete subversion of tropes. Fuka is closest to being the last ninja, despite, everything. And they admittedly call out why everybody else gets points and adds to the team, which is a good point. And Takaharu does nothing. Absolutely nothing to the team morale, yes. Even though he's, the focused character and the one who's supposedly the strongest and does the solid things, he actually contributes the least to everyone. It's funny because it's actually it's actually stating in this show what we've all been saying. He's kind of a terrible character. And they also do admittedly call it Yakumo's out-of-the-box abilities with his magic. Admittedly a bad thing for being highly rated as a ninja, but still, one of the things about being ninja is you have to use all of your capabilities in any way possible. He just happens to have one outside of normal ninjutsu, which should be a good thing. Admittedly, he relies on it a bit too much, which is probably his glaring flaw there. Katsumi, of course, gets pointed out that she's the intelligent one and should be the fucking leader of the team if this was a competently done Sentai series, because she's the intelligent one, and she's the only reason why they've survived the battles so much, because she's the one that always figures out the plans of the yokai. At least when she's not a victim to their spell effects and whatnot. Nagi's the most detail-oriented and, critical thinker of them. Fuka pretty much keeps them in line, except, the, show tries to denigrate her with that. Her only skill is being cute. I hate this show. And Kinji is, of course, the experienced one of the lot with hunting yokai and all of that. And yeah, it's Katsumi that immediately notices that Yoshitaka's acting weird with having all of the Japanese sound symbols showing up. They're pretty much onomatopoeias, but they're not exactly always representative of the sound that's being stated. Whereas onomatopoeia it's spoken how it sounds, like, bang. And you hear bang, you hear a bang. That's an onomatopoeia. Japanese sound symbols, it's like, it's a word intended to describe a sound. like nia for the meow. Meow is the more expected onomatopoeia. Nia is more like a understandable, it's a sound symbol. Kachidoki from Gaim last year was a sound symbol, as Kachidoki is a word descriptive of a victory shout, a victory cry. So yeah, she kept recognizing these slipping into fake Yoshitaka's speech, and that eventually got her to find the real Yoshitaka, bring him in, and it's Doppelganger Day! Yeah. So they go to fight, and here's where something interesting happens. Mataneko finds the Grow Giant Size Hammer, and thinking it's a powerful weapon, he hits Takaharu with it when he's in Chozetsu form. And then we get the Ultraman pose! Tsuburaya is going to sue someone! Seriously, it's blatantly the Ultraman pose. And considering how sue-happy Toei is, if you've ever seen a Toku reviewer on YouTube, yeah. I'm surprised they haven't gone after them for that. Well, Tsuburaya gone after Toei, since Toei seems to do that to everybody. Literally everybody. So, that's pretty much the battle with, actually that's pretty much the entire episode there. Drive! Type love! Yeah, this is a subplot. The subplot of the episode is pretty much getting into, Shinosuke's feelings for Kiriko, and the emotion, Chase has, been trying to quantify of his own feelings of affection and love, or how it all relates to Kiriko from the last arc episode, with the whole boyfriend-girlfriend thing, and whether that is the feeling he feels for Kiriko when that motivates all his protective instincts since the original global freeze, because that's been one of the few recurring things with him, and that Kiriko seems to be the one he saves most frequently, is the one that has tended to snap him out of all of these other negative things that have happened. And I'm describing this badly. So he's trying to ascribe a reason to why he feels motivated to protect her, and he's got it in his head that it might be feelings of romantic affection. Shinosuke is more confronting the are they a couple thing more prominently than we normally get in Toku series, because upon Chisa's confrontation about it, he ends up asking himself, is he in love with Kiriko? And he comes to the conclusion that, yeah, he might just be, and he doesn't know how to act on it now. So he goes and asks Krim while the shift cars and signal bikes are being made immune to Bono's equipment stealing ability, which I credit the show a lot on making sure that cannot be a thing Bono does anymore after its previous two uses. He still does it in this episode, mainly because Rina prioritized the shift cars and signal bikes over the rest of their arsenal, because, it'd be more dangerous for them to lose the gear that allows them to transform in battle than it would be to allow their weapons. The first one leaves you dead. The second one makes you need to use tactics you don't normally take advantage of to... Let me rephrase. The first one leaves you dead because now you can't transform. The second one just leaves you unarmed, but you have other abilities thanks to having proofed all the other shift cars and signal bikes. The problem in this episode was when they actually got around to fighting Gold Drive type Chideron was not using any of its tire blends to offset the loss of his weapons like, it should be. I would think whatever process that made the signal bikes and shift cars immune would in turn apply to any of the weapons that would be summoned by the shift cars, because, well, aren't they created from kind of the same energy matrix? I have no idea how it works. It's a fictional show, but I'm they introduced the concept they can make them immune to Gold Drive's effects. So I would think that would apply to any weapon that's created by the shift cars, like the drill arm or the hell, not even going that far. How about using the attack 1, 2, 3 tire to create energy wheels and energy wheels of fire spikes and shuriken. That would give them a weapon that would be able to fight off Gold Drive having stolen the door gun and the handle sword. Why did I forget that? And admittedly, hopefully they're doing that. Rena's doing that in the next episode, proofing the weapons so Gold Drive can't steal them. Or at least creating duplicates or something. But anyways, back to the love plot, yeah. Shinosuke actually goes so far as to ask Krim about it, and pretty much Krim is just saying, "Why are you asking me? I've been buried in my research for decades." And admittedly, Krim has a good reason in the last 15 years to not, find someone to date and fall in love with when, he's been working so hard to make sure that the Roid Mutes don't take over the world. Since, Banno's schemes started. We also get a good exchange from Go about this, since, he hates Chase because Chase is a Roid Mute. And this gets doubt going in Chase's head about whether Kiriko would have the same base, racism, for lack of a better term, because, they are of two different races, so what would that mean for them long term, which Chase had not actually considered. Which I admit is good. It's good writing because, well, Chase is unfamiliar with emotions and all of the connotations that might result from that. So he's admittedly overthinking it, but he has a good reason to overthink it, and not just from Go's I don't want to say overreaction, but automatic reaction. He has this has been his thing with Chase. He doesn't see him as anything more than a Roid Mute than anything else. And of course, Kiriko is, I don't want to say oblivious to this, but I think she knows what's going on, but I don't think she knows the specifics. Like, she knows that Chase wants to ask her something, and she knows Shinosuke is acting odd now because of it, so yeah. Main plot is actually about Brain and how he's trying to evade capture by Banno and Medic and everyone, pretty much just to keep the promised number apart, because Heart doesn't want Banno to be part of the promised number. 2, Heart hates Banno. And 3, Heart knows that anything involving Banno will be bad for the rest of his race. Case in point, it's revealed Roid Mute number 4 that we've seen a few episodes previously is in fact a brainwashed servant of Banno's. Well, not exactly brainwashed. He was specially programmed to be Banno's servant when Banno next reappeared after being freed from wherever he was. We know that Brain had abducted him at some point and then placed him in the tablet, but we don't know exactly when that was or how it was stored previously or how he even... Well, we know how he escaped that, but why he was even waiting for someone to free him when he could have done it at any time. But we learned that Roid Mute 04 was designed to be his personal servant when he re-emerged and facilitate his own interests. And Roid Mute 04 copied Krim Steinbelt, his human form, back before he was back before he was killed. Now, this is important because the last few episodes we've been seeing preview things for Kamen Rider Drive Surprise Future. Now, what I and many others have been thinking was the realized Crim that we've been seeing as preview details the last few episodes were actually tied into Surprise Future, since Crim in the future is dressed the exact same way as the Crim in the present. No. This is in fact the human form of Red 04. Whether that means that the Crim in the future is also Red 04 is unanswered at this point. But it also means whatever Bano did to Crim that we thought might have been brainwashing was an actual subversion of expectations. Future Crim hasn't been reprogrammed to be evil, as we thought. That was all just, I'm forgetting the writer's name again, but yeah, it was all just a complete and utter clever subversion of expectations that we were given all these false clues to lead us to these wrong conclusions, when this other thing, which is just as justified from what we've seen, clicks perfectly together to make so much more sense. And yes, why could we not have had this kind of writing all season? That's really my complaint. If we'd had this kind of writing all season, Drive would be really up there instead of just being... It's above average now, but you really should not need 20 episodes... Yeah, this is my recurring complaint with TV shows. You should not need 20 episodes to be good. Why can you not be good from start to finish? With a few bumps in the road every now and then. That's kind of why so many people give Yasuko Kobayashi some slack with her bad series, in that it's the middle parts of the series that drag, but they have a good start, good building tension, good end. Unless, you hate the series throughout, like I do with Den-O, and like I've said, Ryuki got screwed over on that majorly. Plus, stupid. And its protagonist was stupid. That's how her series normally work, when her focus character can't be described by the single descriptor of idiot. I'm getting off track. But yeah, this was a really clever reveal to that. And I'm still saying, it makes perfect sense in hindsight, because the first episode that Crim, what we thought was future Crim, appeared, also had the appearance of Red 04. That's the key clue there. So yeah, Bano wants to create the new global freeze. Now, we finally get some exposition on what that entails. It's pretty much going to be paradise for the Roidmudes and their servants, because the global freeze the first time was not actually a global freeze. It only covered about a quarter of the planet, but the effect was distorted enough that it was very powerful. This one, with the evolved core drive ears of the promised number, will be able to encompass the entire planet, and potentially, considering the evolution of the process in there, might actually entail super heavy acceleration, meaning it's a total time stop instead of a distortion of time, which, if the promised number are creating it, might allow all the other Roidmudes to move in it unheated, or hell, Medic and Brain could probably upgrade them so they could actually move in the super heavy acceleration. So that's the danger of it right now, and that's the current goal. Why that would be the needed goal, aside from unheeded conquest of the world, considering there are only so many entities out there that can move in heavy acceleration, let alone super heavy acceleration due to the time distortion. I'm curious what's beyond that. You know, you took over the world. What are you going to do now? Kind of thing. We know Bono wants it, and Bono's insane. We know that Hart is kind of a revolutionary, so maybe this will get humanity out of the way for his own people to hold their revolution or rule through. How would you rule a peoples that are dominated by it when they can't move in it unless specified servitude? I don't know. This part of it's always been iffy for me as a end goal. A facilitator of the end goal of conquest, yeah, but this seems to be a ends to a means kind of goal, at least as far as we've been told so far. At the end of the episode, however, that to kind of lead into the whole resolving the affections thing, Kiriko is heavily injured in the crossfire, which, kind of think of it, she should not have been waiting like that. She should have, waiting and watching the battle. Shinosuke battles Bono. She should have left and escorted Brain out of there, considering, it's dangerous for Brain to be near them, and, enemies as they might be, you might want to put them in protective custody, considering, and, Brain could probably have trusted Shinosuke by this point, considering his leniency at least 3 times in the recent past, concerning his battles with Heart, Medic, and Medic again. So, they'd still want to do it, except they'd probably help stopping Bono's intermediary scheme, since both sides are against the guy, and it just seems contrived that there's not that there continues to not be a enemy of my enemy is at least temporarily my friend kind of dynamic going for them. On to Garo. This is just another short one, as it's coming off of the same concepts. Rian is possessed by Jinga. I honestly thought he was out of the series, but no, he's still hanging on by a thread. And that thread is, he's possessing Rian's body. Masahiro Inoue is in the body of a young woman. Ew. At least, he's playing a horror, so it's a demonic possession and all that. So, yeah, he's playing Dance Puppet Dance to get Rian to Amelie, so Amelie can, reconstitute his body, and this will distract them from getting to Radam and trying to reseal the fully manifested Radam, because as Gold points out in the episode, the previous priest that sealed Radam did it when it was at full power, and Radam is not at full power yet. So yeah, it's progression, and to parallel what was done with Drive this week, Garo is also doing work towards building the series' main ships. Turning that off so I won't get beeped by YouTube. In that it's confronting, well, not exactly confronting, Jinga is bringing up Rian's feelings about Ryuga to taunt Ryuga with them. That it's a representative of her inner selfishness and desires, except there's a problem here. There are a lot of Makai knights that have married and had families with Makai priests, and there have been offsprings of such unions. 2 of note should be Koga and Ryuga. At least I think Ryuga. I have no idea who Ryuga's father is, but at least his mother was a Makai priest, so Oh, I know another one. Barago from the original series. Yeah, his mother was a Makai priest, and his father was a Makai knight. This is not uncommon, so I don't get why they'd feel like that's kind of a selfish thing to hold affection for one another and wanting to get into a relationship. I mean, it would not change that much. Hell, even Jinga and Amelie, before they went horror, had that kind of relationship. They trained their son. Admittedly, bad things happen from that, but it's not exactly a dark and selfish desire as Jinga tries to make it out as. So it's kind of like the show is not exact. The villainous taunting and revelation of the villain in this episode is kind of falling flat, all things considered. I'm glad for the relationship development, considering, Garo's been better at it than some other Japanese series I could name. Cough, any specific Yu-Gi-Oh franchise, cough. In the it's leagues better than fucking Naruto, where it just comes out of the effectively comes out of the blue. Aside from even light for Japanese series teases about a crush before the big "I love you" reveal. This is at least paced out like she didn't want to tell him because it get in the way of their working relationship. So there were good reasons for kind of holding back on it until there was, a period of downtime, or they had their acts more together, like after the Gar armor was fully restored. But yeah, I like that we had that development, and hopefully something will come of it at some point in the future, especially if Ryuga gets a third series. Like, then it'd be new story fodder for that. I have not seen Makai Senki, so I don't know how Koga and Kaoru's relationship. I mean, I know how it ends. We have Raiga in Makai no Hana, but I don't know if there was any intermediary courtship that appeared at all in Makai Senki. Then again, in Japanese series, it's rare to see actual. Okay, in kind of action-y series like this, it's unusual. You usually have to go into the specified romantic comedy kind of thing to see it, versus action series where it's usually either blunt force or not addressed at all, which is sad. Yeah, that's all I got for this week. Updates. Working on October's videos, working on September videos. Yeah, I've got a few I still need to do for that. Planning to start on November's watch of Fies. Yes, it's next in the queue. Pretty soon. This weekend, if you're checking my Daily Motion page, is Dragon Knight. Dragon Knight in its entirety will be released on Saturday, and I got some things to say about it. Should hopefully entice you to watch. Bye.